Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm officially kickstarting posting all the videos for the December Zentangle challenge that I'm hosting on my social media platforms, and it is called JoyTangle. Now, this is the first time that I'm ever hosting a challenge like this on my social media platforms, and I would really love for all of you to participate and recreate these projects. So, this is a 25-day challenge which is going to be running from the 1st to the 25th of December. And the idea is to get into the festive spirit, create some joyful little compositions using the Zentangle method, and to also discover new tangles in the process. Now, to make the challenge easier, I have actually made a list of 25 prompts. So you can use the prompts in any order that you like, and you can also combine a couple of prompts to create your compositions. And you can also mix and match these prompts with other tangles which are not listed over here. So basically, there are no rules. These are just some simple guidelines that I have created for you to get into the festive Zentangle challenge spirit. And the prompt for day one is this beautiful little tangle that I came across recently called Fungees, which is by another CZT, a Certified Zentangle Teacher just like myself. And the name of the CZT is Leslie Crumpler. And you can find the step outs for all of these prompts on the website tanglepatterns.com. The reason why I chose all of the prompts from this website is because I know that it can be a little hard to find step outs for new tangles on the internet, and I wanted to make this challenge easy and accessible for everybody. So I have purposely chosen tangles which are already listed on this website. It's a great website, it's a great resource for finding new tangles and to discover artworks which are developed using wonderful combinations of tangles. So yeah, if you haven't checked out this website ever, this is your sign to go check it out, and you will basically find yourself falling in love with so many new tangles. So anyway, so coming back to day one, I'm posting the video much later. The challenge has already kickstarted on the 1st of December, but I wanted to do justice to all the video edits. So I've been taking some time doing the video edits, even though I have been drawing every day. And I'm going to walk you through the steps for creating my day one composition. So as you can see, I started off making the composition with Eeric, and I decided that I wanted to use Fungees in the backdrop, whereas I wanted to keep Eeric in the foreground. And so it's a wonderful spiral shell-like composition, and you basically just go round and round adding these little sections and connecting them. And you can make them as big as you like. There is no limit to how many sections you want to add, and there is no rule to the sizing of this. Pretty much like most tangles, you can just have your own variations and versions of it. So I decided to add at least 3 of these in 3 different sizes, just to make the composition look a little more dynamic and for it to have a little more variety. And by the way, I have taken a note of all the feedback that you guys send me. So I'm going to do a combination of talking and pausing in all my videos going forward. I'm not going to edit out a lot of the chunks. I made note of that in the comments that you guys have been posting. So yeah, you'll see me going quiet once in a while, but I'll also talk you through all the major steps without skipping much of the information. So yeah, once the Eeric placements were done, I decided to move on to Fungees, and it starts off with these wavy lines, which don't really need to be equidistant, and they also don't need to line up perfectly. You can just sort of place them randomly, and then we basically take them 2 at a time and start to create this bell-like shape. And I think it's this bell-like shape which kind of gives it a Christmas vibe, and it reminds you of course, Christmas bells. So this, of course, had to be the first prompt because, to be honest, this tangle is what gave me the idea to come up with this Christmas challenge to begin with. So yeah. And yeah, once I had done all the placements, I decided to color it in with the red pen, because again, I wanted it to look festive and I wanted it to look joyful in classic Christmas colors. So I filled it all in. And then for the semicircles that go under the fungees, I decided to use a gold pen. Now, if you were doing this in a classic black and white method, then you would just outline it with a black pen and use your graphite pencil to shade the inner sections. But I decided to do a little bit of color blocking over here because I wanted to avoid shading. And so I decided to do this with a gold pen. Also, because gold kind of adds to the festive feeling of the composition. And it's basically like that inner section of the bell, if you want to think of it like that. And then for all the empty spaces, I decided to color them in with the green pen. Again, you can add so many other details over here, but I wanted to just use a lot of color instead of techniques like enthaching and stippling and stuff like that. So I decided to just do color blocking and I went for the green pen. And the next step that I did was to define those bells a little bit more because I realized that there was not a lot of separation between the green and the red. And so I decided to kind of outline them with the gold pen, which gave it a lot more definition, and it just made the form of the fungees come out a lot better. Now, of course, if you were doing this with a black pen, you could totally outline it with that also, but I think you've probably been able to guess by now that I'm trying to avoid using black in this composition, and in fact I'm not going to be using black in this entire challenge altogether. This is one of my personal goals to try and experiment with Zentangle compositions in which I don't use the black pen. So hence I'm going for the gold outlines over here. And once that was done, I used my dark green pen to go back to the Eeric and just decided to make the outlines a little bit more bold. I'm just going for those semicircular peripheral outlines and not the inner lines. And this is just again to create some separation between the foreground and the background and just to make the Eeric pop out a little bit more. For my next step, I decided to add in some curvy lines which echoed the original lines inside the Eeric. And you can also do this as auras, or you can also refer to this as striping. They're very similar to a couple of different techniques in Zentangle, so you can choose whichever name you find easy to memorize. But basically, my inspiration over here was to make the Eeric look like candy, like Christmas candy. Peppermint candy and candy canes and stuff like that. So I wanted to go for these green, golden, and red sort of stripes and details inside Eeric. And again, I feel like it just kind of brings out that whole festive feeling to the composition. You can, of course, do this with so many other filler patterns. You can do dots and so many other tangles inside as well. It's totally up to you on what kind of filler patterns that you use. This is just one of the many ideas that you can experiment with. And so this is what I went for. And you can probably make out that I'm kind of going alternate. So if I'm doing one section with mixed stripes of green, gold, and red, then the next section is dedicated to one color, which is red, for example. Then I'm again doing a mixed stripe section, and then the next one's with green stripes, and so on and so forth. So basically just going alternate between singular color sections and multicolored sections. And that's how I basically filled up my entire Eeric. Then I also felt that the white was getting a little bit lost, and I wanted to add in sort of like a lighter color or maybe like a highlight. And I wanted to basically bring out the white again in the composition. So I went back in with my white jelly roll pen and decided to add some inner auras or details inside those original fungi shapes. And this was just to sort of complement the white that is already existent in the Eeric. because I left the paper white over there. So this was one of the other detailing things that I wanted to add. And then I went back in with my gold pen and added some tiny dots inside those green sections. Now, as always, it really depends on your personal choice, how much details you want to add into your composition. I personally believe that if you like to make intricate compositions, then you have to have the patience and the amount of love to be able to go back in again and again and layer your compositions. And that's how you are able to create beautiful, intricate designs. So when this started off, it probably did not look like it would end up here, and that's because we start off with broader outlines and bigger sections, but you just have to keep going back in with smaller details and keep layering it, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I feel like those tiny dots just add one more level of intricate detailing to the drawing. And so yeah, so that's what I added. And then is our favorite part, removing of the washi tape. I did struggle a little bit with all of these washi tapes because I was testing out some new brands which I have not used, and I ordered like a bunch of new supplies recently and I had new washi tapes, so I did struggle with a couple of these. And but yeah, I mean, if you look at them, aren't they like so pretty? Like, I feel like these washi tapes make such beautiful frames to the drawings itself. It's just a shame that I didn't have enough of the same design. Otherwise, I would have totally let them be on the border and they would have just created a nice frame for me. But anyway, I think I'm just going to keep that idea in my mind for the next challenge that I host. So anyway, here is the final drawing completed with all its beautiful, intricate details. And you can see how beautifully that gold is shining in the light. And I totally loved making this composition. And if you are also following the challenge and if you plan on recreating this composition, or if you want to do your own take to the prompt, then I would love for you to share your creations with me over here on YouTube, or you can also tag me on Instagram. I have a bunch of different Instagram handles. You can tag me on the relevant ones, which would be my main page or the one in which I post my Zentangle works basically. So yeah, I'd love to meet you guys over there. And very, very soon I'm going to start posting all the other videos of this challenge as well. And I'm going to meet you very, very soon. Bye bye.